it reminds me of the Lost Cause. And this idea now, to your point, the point I've made with that is that when we were having all the discussions about the Confederate monuments and and all that kind of stuff, what is revealing to me, and that is something I always take note of, is for the United States, for someone to look back and say, okay, the Confederacy, that's who I identify with. Like, that's just very interesting to me, because they weren't very long lasted, and the only thing they really stood for was white supremacy and keeping slavery in place. Like, that's what they stood for. And so when you look at you could alternatively, if you're an American, you can say, hey, I identify with the Union. They stood for the Constitution, they won, all this other stuff. Or you could say, hey, I like the guys who rebelled against the Union and who took an L, and but they were and if you were saying, oh well, those guys were tougher, like, no, that's not at all. You could just as easily look at Stonewall Jackson and be like, yeah, that was a cool dude. Or you could look at Ulysses Grant, or you could look at John Brown, and say, oh yeah. So it's always this choice that people are making as far as what emotionally that resonates with them. And so it was always interesting to me that so many people, even in this day and age, they would emotionally say what emotionally resonated with them was the Confederacy. Like, they didn't win. They stood for, white supremacy and slavery, and so it's just like, okay, so what's going on there? Do you like them because they didn't win, or did you like them because of the other thing? But either way,
yeah.
In this case, the Lost Cause, part of what the Lost Cause was, and that was not some accident in history. It was an effort because of this affinity. That now, at least then, people were closer to it. Like, the Daughters of the Confederacy, a lot of them were related to people in the Confederacy, so you can understand an affinity there. But what they did, it was like, hey, we want to recast what happened. We want to make it so that people in the future don't remember the Confederacy as only standing for white supremacy, as written by Alexander Stephens, the member of the cabinet of the Confederacy, and and all the leaders basically of the Confederacy. We don't want them to be remembered for those things. We want to create a new history, what these people can be remembered for. And it's been successful in many respects, because you start having people talk about, oh, well, the Civil War wasn't about slavery and all that. So this Lost Cause was a concerted effort made after the fact to recast the history so that future generations, at minimum, would be arguing about it. It wouldn't be some clear fact of history.